This is The Forgotten One, Scene 12, Shot F, Take 1.
Well, The Forgotten Ones really began in May of 2010. I was staying on the school campus during the summer for a research project, and I had told my mother to take my TV and DVD player home, which I regretted, but I ended up going on YouTube and discovering the Star Wars fan film community, which I'm ashamed to say I really hadn't known about before. And I watched a lot of it and thought about, some of it was really, really good, and I was like, that would be really great to be able to do. So I said, okay, it's possible, so I kind of had some sort of loose idea involving crystals in a cave, so I knew I was going to need that to really finish making the idea. But living in Florida, we really don't have a whole lot of caves that aren't flooded. So I looked around on the internet and I found one, which is up in the Panhandle. It's called the Florida Caverns State Park. And I figured, I'll give them a call and see what they say. So I called expecting them to say, no, we really have no interest in, allowing a student film here. But I called and they said, sure, why not? So at that point, as soon as I got that, I knew I was going to have to sit down and write a script.
Well, I got involved with The Forgotten Ones because it was my first semester at Rollins. I didn't know very much about the campus or the acting opportunities, and I hadn't even seen the theater yet. So what I did was I went and auditioned, I got a small part, and over time, I just realized it was a good way to meet people. It was a Star Wars film, which is my personal favorite genre, so it was just a good combination of my favorites all in one. But the best thing about it was meeting Jennifer and David and all the rest of the cast members.
Everybody was perfect, and the one that I really remember was the very first audition, which was Jordan Rickman auditioning for the part of Azrin, the Sith assassin, and I remembered him saying, he was interested, and I said, well, Jordan, you have to be able to do creepy to do this, and I don't know, you're a tech guy, I don't know if you can pull it off. He said, just let me try. So I gave him the script, and he read the lines. I thanked him for his time, said I'll get back to you, and he had read the lines the same way I had heard them in my head when I was writing them, and it gave me chills, and I knew then that things were going to work out.
Ah, yes, Azrin. Delightful character. Yeah, it was really fun. I kind of always played dark, creepy characters, or enjoyed doing that. I don't know why. It's sort of a humor thing for me. At the one hand, I happen to be really good at being creepy, but I also think it's funny and enjoy being funny in a weird dark humor sort of way. And you sort of get into that headspace of actually letting the creepy and a little bit insane side come through, because Azrin is extremely insane and gets progressively insane throughout the movie, so a lot of fun there.
Who are you? How long have you been there?
There's no need for that. Had it been my intention to harm you, I could have done so easily. Breathe. Out.
The green screen sequences, these are the scenes where I was in my starship cabin, were kind of awkward because I didn't have any set. I didn't have any props. I was pressing imaginary buttons, for goodness sake. And
I had met someone who said that his brother had a lot of combat experience. He was, had a couple black belts in different martial arts and was a competitive sword fighter. I said, oh, that'd be perfect.
So that's largely how David Zeller got involved with the project. And once we actually got the rehearsal space reserved in the gym, the rehearsals were really collaborative. He didn't design a routine and then bring it in and teach it to us. It was sort of a, this is the move, this is what we're starting. Maybe we'd have a starting position, somebody attacking someone else. But he would say, okay, well, if we're here, where do you want to move? And then you'd see where it would take you and where the flow would go, which was really great.
Carry over, boom, spin, boom, push, jump, boom, 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 boom.
Combat rehearsals were a lot of fun, yes. I've kind of, always enjoyed cool battles and so on film, especially. I especially like ones that focus more on choreography and technique. A lot of times you watch like a fight scene and all you see is violent flashing close-ups and you can't even tell what's going on. You know, that's not as fun to me as actually seeing sort of the interplay between different fighters, and you know, maybe one character has a particular style that fits their personality, things like that. So that was really fun. Certainly with my character, me and David worked a lot on a style that fit his personality, because he's sort of just kind of doesn't care until, you know, later on in the film it gets a little tough for him, but most of the time his opponents are weak compared to him, so he just kind of, you know, throwing stuff out. It's interesting because it's a mixture of he's throwing stuff out casually and doesn't really matter to him, but then he also does some really cool stuff, you know, in terms of advanced techniques compared to the other characters. So I just really enjoy that part of the rehearsal.
Oh, I love the creepy walk.
I'd been working on the costume crews for the shows with Seth Schrager, and I kind of realized I wanted to hone my craft a bit more, so at Jennifer's suggestion I helped make the costumes for the characters Jaren as well as my own costume, and it was, every night though that we made costumes was great, but at the same time foolish, because we'd make costumes for hours, but we'd be talking to each other, and then we'd go to dinner, then when we get back we'd either watch a movie or something on YouTube, and in the end, it was just practical, yet distracting at the same time.
Don't hit him in the head!
Well, yes, the trip itself was a big thing. I mean, it was, you know, it's one of those experiences that you just pull yourself totally out of daily life, you know. You sort of drop everything, you're just working on this film. And that's exhausting. I mean, I don't want to think about how little sleep I got the first few days, but it's just really fun, and you really become, you know, totally engaged in something in a way you really don't get in everyday life. You know, you're in a class, you're in a club, you know, you're in it once, you know, 2 times a week for a few hours, or once a week for a meeting, and then you do a little bit of work outside, or you do, you know, a few hours of homework. That's fun, and you'll learn a lot, but it's really just a total experience being there and, you know, completely focused on the film and all aspects of it for a whole week. And it's, I mean, great, you know, bonding experience. You know, we have more inside jokes than we could list from that trip, so, you know, anybody you go with, you're gonna really know them when you get out of there. It's just a lot of great time.
It really was a fantastic production. It was a great project I'll be able to look back on for a long time.